Hello everyone, we are solving Pure Math P1 paper of CAIE, Cambridge Assessment International Exam, and this is an AS level paper. So this paper belongs to the May-June 2024 session and this is variant 1-2. So it's a walkthrough solution. The solution is already there for you. So you'll be able to go over the paper in the shortest possible time. Let's look at question number 1. Question number 1 is that of binomial expansion. The question says the coefficient of x square in the expansion of this bracket is 12 times the coefficient of x square in the expansion of this bracket. Now this bracket is a binomial, this is also a binomial. The only difference is the first term is 1, the first term is 2. So we do the expansion and we are looking for the x square term. So it's a particular term formula, NCR b raised to power of r. Since we need a power of 2, we write a 2 over here, we evaluate, we take care of the positive negative sign. 240 is the coefficient of x square. And now over here, 2 plus ax raised to power of 5, the particular term formula is NCR, a raised to power of n minus r, b raised to power of r. And applying the same process, we get this as the coefficient of x square. So now in P1, remember, read everything very carefully. They're asking for the value of the positive constant a. So we equate the red with the blue. We solve, we get a square is 1/4. Write it down and then reject it. A is negative half, a is positive half, this is rejected, this is accepted. So that is the only answer. Question number 1 is done and dusted. Question number 2, that is of transformation. The question says the curve y is equals to x square is transformed to this particular curve. Describe fully a sequence of transformations that have been combined, making clear the order in which the transformations have been applied. Now, there is a 4 over here. There is a 3 over here, there is a 8 over here, the 3 comes with a negative sign, the 8 comes with a negative sign. So now this 4 over here, what does it do? This 4, it's actually doing the stretching along the y-axis. That is the first thing. This negative 3, it means shift the graph positive 3 units to the right. It has the negative effect. Right means along the x-axis. Then there is negative 8. This is also a translation and this time the graph will go down by 8 units. Now there are two possible solutions for this one. The first solution which I've written over here, I'm first focusing on the negative 3. That means it's a translation and this is the translation vector. It has been shifted 3 units to the right. There is no vertical translation at this moment. So that is the red thing that I've done. Now after this is done, then I'm doing the stretching along the y-axis. Stretch parallel to y-axis, scale factor is 4. And this comes at the very end, negative 8. That is a translation of 8 units along the negative y-axis and that makes up the whole thing. That is, there are 3 transformations. Now, alternatively, what we can do is that translation is still the first one. There is a horizontal translation. And now there is a vertical translation of negative 2. Why? Because this is negative 8. Just focus on the 8. And the scale factor is 4. So what I'm doing is that I'm changing the order. First horizontal translation, then vertical translation. After this is done, then the stretch. So when we do the stretch, the y coordinate is multiplied by 4. So therefore this negative 2 after multiplication by 4 becomes negative 8. So personally, I prefer this one, but this is 100% all good, all clear also. So these are the two ways of doing question number 2. Question number 3. It says, show that the equation, by the way, this is trigonometry. The equation 7 tan theta over cosine theta plus 12 is equals to 0 can be expressed as this quadratic in terms of sine theta. That's another way of stating the truth. So now tangent is written as sine over cos. Cos is just cos and 12 is there. Now make a habit of denoting that we'll be using S as the symbol for sine theta and C as the symbol for cosine theta. So the examiner is well aware of your steps, of your solution, of the symbols that you are using. Make sure to make things very, very clear. If you are making things very, very clear, whether it's mathematical steps, whether it's notation that you are using or symbol that you are using, then the examiner is more than happy to give you all the possible marks. So now first thing is this, the C and C multiplies, that is C square, multiply throughout by C square, or transfer this to the other side and then multiply. C square is 1 minus S square. So there are two identities, sine square plus cos square equals to 1. Sometimes you make sine square the subject, sometimes you make C square the subject. Also tangent is sine over cos, and sometimes you square both sides, that is also in use. So now you simplify and you get this quadratic equation. That's the first part. And then what's the next part? Part B, right over here. Hence solve this equation for theta between 0 and 360 degrees inclusive. So now we do middle term factorization, and if middle term factorization was not possible, we always have the option of quadratic formula. So therefore you break this up. You get S as 4 over 3, we reject it. Why do we reject it? Because sine theta has a maximum value of 1, minimum value of -1. This is rejected. Sine theta is -3/4. Sine is positive in first and second quadrant. Sine is negative in third and fourth quadrant. Domain, range of values of theta is written as it is. Basic angle is calculated with the positive ratio. What is the basic angle? That's the acute angle with the x-axis. And what happens that in the third quadrant, 180 plus the basic angle, 360 minus the basic angle. This is the final answer. The final answer should be given correct to 1 dp. The working should be done in 2 decimal places. Take care of that. Question number 4, another functions question. Now the question says fx is equals to root x minus 1, x is greater than 1. Find an expression for f inverse, that is the basic stuff. Let y is equals to fx, f inverse y is equals to x. Make x the subject and replace x with f inverse y. We have a habit of writing everything in terms of x, so we write it in terms of x. That's the first part. The second part, the diagram shows the graph of y is equals to gx, where gx is 1 over x square plus 2. So this is gx. And then it says state the range of g and explain whether g inverse exists. So x is an element of real numbers. What I do is that the first thing, step number 1, that is gx is equals to 0. When I equate it to 0, I get no solution. The x disappears. Therefore, there are no x-intercepts. So now you are very, very careful that it will get close to the x-axis. It will get close to the x-axis. But actually, this x-axis right over here, that is the horizontal asymptote. So y is equals to 0. That is the horizontal asymptote that we have. And then what else do? I plug in 0 over here. When I plug in 0 over here, I get half. So this is the value, that's half over here. It gets very close to 0. That means 0 is not inclusive. Gx is greater than 0. Gx is lesser than or equal to half. That is the range. Very simple conceptual question. Whether G inverse exists? G inverse will not exist since Gx is a 1-to-1 function, is not a 1-to-1 function. So that is what is missing. I wrote it over here. It fails the horizontal line test. So let me draw a horizontal line anywhere on the graph. It is intersecting at 2 points. It fails HLT. That's the horizontal line test. Now let's move on. The next part. Now it says the function h is defined by hx as 1 over x squared plus 2. That's the same function. And x is greater than or equal to 0. So now they are focusing only on this part. X is greater than or equal to 0. That's a part of the graph. Solve the equation hfx is equals to f of 25 over 16. We already have fx. So now I don't have to flip the pages on and off, what I do is that I take that fx, I write it over here, all the necessary details, so that my concentration, my focus is just on this page. So if I plug in 25 over 16 over here, I simplify, I get 1/4. In other words, I have to solve this equation, h of fx equals to 1/4. So now let's take this fx, let's plug in place of x in hx, h of fx, that is a composite function. So when I write this, I don't need to expand it, just be a little bit patient. Just wait and see, and let's see how things unfold. So I have written it over here. I equate it to 1/4. Numerator equals the numerator. Denominator equals the denominator. So therefore, let me solve this thing and I get the value. X is equals to 1 plus root 2 whole square. Expand it a bit, and that is the answer for X. So a nice question involving surds, involving concepts. They have already asked us to give the answer in this particular form. So question number 4 is done. Now let's look at question number 5. The first part is AP, and I think the next part is GP, and there is part 1 and 2 of part B. So now over here in question number 5, what do we see? It says the first and second terms of an arithmetic progression are tangent theta and sine theta respectively. Respectively means whatever is written first, that's the first term. Whatever is written next, that's the second term. Where theta lies between 0 and pi by 2. That means we are dealing with acute angles, and when we are dealing with acute angles, sine is positive, tangent is positive. Now given that theta is pi by 4, find the exact sum of the first 40 terms. So exact means either the surd form or in terms of pi or fractions for the first 40 terms of this progression. So what do? We take this value, we plug it in the first term, we get t1 as 1, we get t2 is root 2 over 2, that is the rationalized form, and d, since it's an AP, that is second term minus the first term, that comes out to be this. N comes out to be 40. Sum of 40 terms, this is n divided by 2. Let me write it over here. So Sn is equals to n divided by 2, 2a plus n minus 1 into d, close the bracket. So there is n, there is d, and what is a? A is 1. So this is n divided by 2, 2a, n minus 1 is 39, and this whole thing is d. Simplify, and this is the answer is 40, and this answer is in the exact form. Why? Because surds are used over here. That's the first one. The next one. Now it says the first and second terms of a GP are tangent theta and sine theta respectively, where theta lies between this and this. B part 1. Find the sum to infinity of the progression in terms of theta. So now first of all we have to work in terms of theta. Common ratio, that is second over the first term. A is S over C. Tangent theta I have written as sine over cos, and R is coming out to be cos. That's the working right over here. S divided by S over C, sine theta divided by tangent theta, it simplifies to cos. So now what do we have? Let me just simplify it a bit. So A is S over C, R is C. So sum to infinity is what? Sum to infinity is A over 1 minus R. A is S over C divided by 1 minus C, S over C into 1 over 1 minus C, and leave the answer in this form. No need to complexify your life or the examiner's life. So now the second part. Given that theta is pi by 3, find the sum of the first 10 term of the progression. Give your answer correct to 3SF. So now the angle value, theta value is pi by 3, tangent of pi by 3, root 3, again working in the exact form. T2, sine of pi by 3, that's root 3 over 2. R, root 3 over 2 divided by root 3, that comes out to be 1 over 2. Also remember from the first part, R is cosine. So there it is, R is equals to cosine. So let me write over here, R is cosine. So if I use that, I can use it directly also. R comes out to be half, and the first term is root 3. So A is root 3, r comes out to be half. Therefore, sum of n terms, that is a 1 minus r power n over 1 minus r. Look at the working over here, working in indices, working with the powers, writing it out, working in fractions as much as possible, as if I'm giving the answer in the exact form. And once everything has been set, now use a calculator. Even if the examiner asks me that what is the answer in the exact form, I am ready and prepared for it. And if the examiner tells me to give the answer in the 3 significant figure, the decimal form, perfectly good, perfectly ready for it. Question number 6. Now the question says the curve with the equation y is equals to 2x minus 8x power half. Maybe this was written as 8 root x, so it's my responsibility to write it in terms of indices, index, exponents, powers, because that's how I'll work it out. This curve has a minimum point at A and intersects the positive x-axis at B. Now in P1, remember it's all about reading in English and working in math, and maybe if your mother tongue is not English, then you have to do a bit of translation. So now what is the first thing that you need to do? And definitely there is reading and comprehension. You have to understand, you have to work it out. So y is this, dy by dx. Do not write y prime, write the official formula dy by dx. Simplify, this is what you get. Minimum point at A, dy by dx equals to 0. So let me highlight this. So let me choose this color. This color is nice. So dy by dx is equals to 0. That is for the minimum point. And we solve and we get this answer. X comes out to be 4. When x comes out to be 4, do we need just the coordinates? We need the y coordinate also. Therefore, I plug in x is equals to 4. I get the y value, and that is the y coordinate. That is the first thing. And then it also says that it intersects the positive x-axis at B. So intersects the x-axis, y coordinate is 0. We solve and we get x is equals to 0. We get x is equals to 16. This is rejected. Why? Because 0 is not positive. What is the positive value? That is 16. Again, we plug in the original equation. That means the equation of the curve, just like over here. And then we solve and we get this answer, that is 0. So the coordinates of B is 16, 0. So A is found, B is found for 4 marks. Yes, you have to do a lot of work for all these small marks. Remember that the whole paper is about 75 marks. Now it says, the diagram shows the curve with equation and the line AB. So that is the curve that's going like this. And the line AB that's going like this. So we now have the coordinate of A, we now have the coordinates of B. It is given that the region, that the equation of AB is this much. Find the area of the shaded region between the curve and the line. So now the integration process, it gives you what? It gives you the area under the curve all the way till the x-axis. Now if I apply these two limits, that is 4 and 16, it will give me this shaded area plus this cross out area also, which is a triangle. Keep that in mind. So now integration in process, individual term integration, raise the power by 1, divide by the new power, raise the power by 1, divide by the new power, simplify, plug in the limits, upper limit goes in first, lower limit goes in next, negative sign in the middle. Now it's a lot of fractions and all these things. Use calculator as much as possible, simplify, and I get this answer as 176/3. It's coming out to be negative. Why is it coming out to be negative? Because the area is below x-axis. So below x-axis, it's giving out to be negative, but we have to discard it. And now what is the next thing that needs to be done? That was very simple. That is the area under the line. Why should I do integration when I can just work out in a very simple way? This is 4, this is 16, that's 12. This height over here, height of this triangle is -8. Ignore the negative sign. How did I get -8? I plugged in this equation. And that's the working that I've done. And what do I get? I get the area of the triangle. That's right over here, 48. This is 48. This is 176 over 3. The difference comes out to be 32 over 3. So that difference, that is the area of shaded region. And make sure that you write unit square or square units over here. That is the answer for this particular part. Pretty simple, but of course indices, algebra, arithmetic, all those things which you once took for granted, that comes in full swing. The next one, the equation of a circle is x minus 6 whole square, y plus a whole square is equals to 18. The line with the equation y is equals to 2a minus x is a tangent to the circle. Part A, find the two possible values of the constant a. Now step 1, what have I done? First of all, what is the strategy? The strategy is make a single equation, apply the concept of quadratics, b squared minus 4ac is equals to 0, and then solve. So I'm just focusing on this part over here. I don't want to write everything in one place. So I have taken this, I have substituted over here, I simplified, I expanded, and this is what I get. And now the next step, step number 2. So let me label the steps over here. So this is step number 1 and this is step number 2, and then there is step number 3 over here. So what is step number 2? Step number 2 is this equation. It's time to expand. A minus b whole square, 1, 2, 3 terms. This thing whole square, that's already done over here. Just dump the answer over here. Now x square goes with x square and x goes with x, and the constant and the constant and the constant, they are all gathered in one place. Simplify as much as possible. This is the single quadratic equation that you get. So that's a single quadratic equation. Now the coefficient of x square is denoted as a, the coefficient of x is b, the coefficient, everything else is the constant term. B square minus 4ac is equals to 0. The concept of tangent, expand, simplify, simplify, take common, a is equals to 0, a is equals to 4. That is why the two possible values of the constant. Remember the strategy that I've always emphasized on, that is common, taking common, that is the ultimate thing. If you have an option of cancelling out versus common, you should always take common. Like someone, let's say, what alternatively someone can do, and this alternate is the wrong option. I'm just explaining what is the possibility that some people would be doing. So therefore, negative 36a square plus 144 is equals to 144a is equals to 0. So therefore, negative 36a square is 144a, and divide by a, that is negative 36a is 144. So therefore, a comes out to be, this negative also cancels out, negative cancels out, a comes out to be 4. Now this is an incomplete solution. So this is incomplete, whereas taking common gives you the complete solution. So always remember, it's necessary to take common wherever possible. Maybe in this question, they would have said that a is a positive value. So then you would be rejecting this one. But since they're asking for the possible values, both values are possible. The next one. Now it says for the greater value of a, that is a is equals to 4, find the equation of the diameter which is perpendicular to the given tangent. I love the wording. Find the equation of the diameter which is perpendicular to the given tangent. Now a lot of people would go just crazy over it. They would think that this is the most difficult question that they have ever seen in their life. There is nothing like that. This is one of the easiest. Again, it's about reading comprehension. It's about English. It's about your mother tongue. And it's about mathematics. That's how you do it. So now I have plugged in the value of a. I have plugged in the value of a. This is 2a minus x. A is 4. So this becomes 8 minus x. And this is comparing with x minus h whole square, y minus k whole square is equals to r square. That is 6. That is negative 4. Radius is root 18. But that is not used over here. That is the center. Gradient of the tangent is negative 1. Therefore, gradient of this perpendicular, which is the diameter. By the way, that perpendicular is half the radius, that is the diameter, that is positive 1. So now this diameter will be passing through this point. So take this point, take this gradient, apply the equation, and that's a simple answer. I think the whole equation, the whole wording, the complete sentence, I think that is more technical than the working itself. Now at this point, I have to emphasize the fact that the diagram is a must unless someone is a super genius. I think diagram is a must. It gives you an idea. Doesn't have to be an exact diagram, but it still gives you a very, very good idea. Question number 8, another question of circular measure, making you think out of the box. The diagram shows a symmetrical, underline this word. What is this word? That is symmetrical. It says there is a symmetrical plate and the name of the plate is A, B, C, D, E, F. So this is A, B, C, D, E, all the way till F, and that's how this is complete. G and H, that is what I have labeled for myself. The line ABCD is a straight line. So therefore ABCD is a straight line and the length of BC is 2 centimeter. So BC is 2 centimeters. Each of the two sectors ABF and DCE is of radius R. ABF and DCE is of radius R. So this is R, this is R, this is R, this is R. And then it says each of the angles is equal to pi by 3. So this angle is pi by 3, this angle is pi by 3. Now if this line is straight, keep in mind this is pi by 3, the Z shape, therefore this is also pi by 3, this is also pi by 3. First part, it says it is given that R is 0.4. So R is 0.4. Show that the length of EF is 2.4. Now sometimes what I have a habit of is that I'll do some extra working also, which not necessarily will be used in part 1, but maybe it will be used in part 2. So what I've done is that I have taken this triangle out. This is 0.4. This is BG. This is FG. This is pi by 3. I have used sine. Sine of pi by 3 is BG over 0.4, exact value, and BG comes out to be 0.2 root 3. Again, I'm working in the exact form. I'll convert it into decimals when and where the need arises. Similarly, cos of pi by 3, that is the next thing. So let me just highlight this thing. So over here, cos of pi by 3, let me just adjust it a bit. Looks good like this. Okay. So now cos of pi by 3 is Fg over 0.4. That is Fg divided by 0.4. Fg comes out to be 0.2. Now this Fg over here is equals to He because of symmetry. And GH is equals to BC. This GH is equals to BC. So therefore the length of EF, that is this whole thing over here. That is this thing plus this thing plus this 2. That is 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 2. That comes out to be 2.4 centimeters. That thing is done. Find the area of the plate. Give your answer correct to 3SF. Now the area of the plate consists of a rectangle and two triangles. Now someone can say, can I use this thing as one big trapezium? Of course you can. And it's also made up of two sectors. So let me find the area of the triangle. Let me find the area of the rectangle first. Then one triangle, I'll double it. One sector, I'll double it. And I'll add it all up. So area of the rectangle, that is BG into BC. Now BG was calculated earlier. So I have the exact value. So that is 0.2 into root 3 multiplied by 2. That is the length of the rectangle. I have again written the answer in the exact form. Area of the triangle, that's half into base into height. That is the base, 0.2. That is the height. That is the base. That is the height. That is half. Again written the answer in the exact form. Area of the sector, half r square theta. So that is r. That is r over here, that is r over here, that is theta over here. Again, this thing is done. So now I have root 3, I have root 3, I have pi, I have fractions, I have decimals. Now this thing will be doubled, this thing will be doubled. Area of triangle is doubled, area of sector is doubled. I have added it up, I have put a 2 on the outside. Area of rectangle as it is. Now at this point, I'll use a calculator. And this is the answer, correct to 3SF. That is what I achieve. Now, since you will be having the paper wide open, you can flip the page or look at the side. So what I've done is that I have taken this diagram, took a screenshot and pasted it over here. Now in part B, it is given instead that the perimeter of the plate is 6. So now they are not using that previous value of R. So now this value is 6. Find the value of R. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So now the arc length AF, that is R into pi by 3. That is equals to this arc length over here. AB is equals to R is equals to CD. So AB is equals to R is equals to CD. FG is half R. Remember, this was over here, FG, that's right over here. So this 0.4, if I write it as R, so this is half R. So now that is half R, and HE is also half R. What else is there? This is 2 and this is 2. BC and GH is 2 each. Now what is the perimeter? Perimeter is BC plus GH. So that's BC plus GH. That's 2 plus 2. AB plus CD. That is AB and CD. What is AB and CD? R each. R plus R. AF plus ED. AF, that's right over here. That's AF and ED. What is AF and ED? That is R into pi by 3. That's R into pi by 3 plus R into pi by 3. And last but not the least, that is FG plus HE, that is half R each. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms linked with R. This 2 plus 2 is 4. Take to the other side, 6 minus 4 is 2. From all these 6 terms, I have taken R common out. So that's 1 over here, pi by 3, half R. So 1 plus half, that is 3. And pi by 3 plus pi by 3 is 2 pi by 3. I'm going into so much detail which you have to go if you want to score your desired A star by taking guidance from this paper, from the methodology that I've explained. So now use a calculator. And I've written it to 4 significant figures, or you can just divide and then use a calculator, and R comes out to be 0.393 centimeters. That's the answer for this particular part. So a lovely question that I've seen over here. Question number 9. Now it says a function f is such that f prime x is equals to 6 bracket square minus 6x. X is an element of real numbers. It means all real values of x. Be very careful with the notation. Now it says determine the set of values of x for which fx is decreasing. Fx is decreasing. It means f prime x is negative. Negative means less than 0. So now let me just remove the small sign over here. This is less than 0. And then what I have done is that I have taken the 6 common out. I have expanded this. This 6, 0 divided by any number is 0. Middle term factorization. And then since this is a quadratic inequality, remember drawing a sketch is a must, so that you will look at the sketch and give the answer. When we have these two things multiplying lesser than 0, that is a quadratic inequality. Which region are we talking about? Lesser than 0 means below x-axis. So this is below x-axis. For what range of values is it below the x-axis? X lies between these two values. This is the bigger value. This is the smaller value. That's how you write it. The next page. Given that f of 1 is negative 1, find f of x. We were given f prime x. We have to find fx. We have to integrate this. 6 was a constant. I took it outside. Apply chain rule of integration. Integral of ax plus b raised to power of n dx. What do? Increase the power by 1. Divide by the new power. Divide by the coefficient of x plus the constant of integration. So over here, this is the overall constant of integration. This is simple integration. Increase the power, divide by the new power. And the 6 still remains on the outside. And let's look at the working that I'm doing. So over here, when I open up the bracket, this 2 and 3 simplifies with 6. This 2 and 6 simplifies and leaves a 3, and c is left. Now this 3 was written later. What do? We plug in the x value, we plug in the y value. Y value is the function value. So we plug it in, we find the value of c, and you write it down. That is the equation of the curve. That is the original function. Question number 10. Now it says the equation of a curve is this much for x is lesser than 5/2. Part a point P is moving along the curve in such a way that the y coordinate of point P is decreasing at 5 units per second. So let me write down one thing. dy by dt, how is y changing with time? That is negative 5 units per second. So keep in mind this negative sign, don't forget it. Now it says find the rate at which x coordinate of P is increasing. That means this answer will come out to be positive when y is 32. So now what I've done is that y is equals to 32. I plug it in over here. I simplify. This power is 3/2. When I remove this power, basically we raise it to its reciprocal. This is a very important rule which people forget. If a power m is equals to b, therefore a is b raised to power of 1/m. I mean, you are well aware of it when we talk about square and square root, cube and cube root. So any power m, the reciprocal is what you are looking for when you want to make it the subject. So 27 raised to power of 2/3. Let me also explain this. 27 raised to power of 2/3. 27 is 3 cube raised to power of 2/3. That's 3 raised to power of 2, which comes out to be 9. So that's how we get this 9 over here. The value of x comes out to be negative 2. So let me write over here somewhere that over here, this is basically step number 1. So step number 1 is finding the x coordinate. Over here, that is step number 2. That is doing differentiation. So y is equals to this, dy by dx is this. When x is 2, dy by dx comes out to be negative 9. That is step number 2. And what is step number 3? Step number 3, this is rates of change. Differentiation with rates of change. Actually, the proper name is related rates of change. Y is dependent upon x is dependent upon t. In other words, y is dependent upon t. So therefore, what do we have? We have this thing, that is dy by dt is equals to dy by dx into dx by dt. Now remember this negative sign that was way at the top. Dy by dt, that is negative 5. Dy by dx is also negative. So this negative cancels out. Dx by dt is coming out to be positive. Yes, it's increasing. So that is a confirmation of your answer, that the answer is coming out to be increasing. Simple but elegant question. The second part. Now it says point A on the curve has y coordinate 32. So we are still talking about the same point. Y coordinate is 32, x coordinate is negative 2. So therefore this A, that's right over here, that is minus 2 comma 32. This was from part 1. Now it says there is another point B on the curve such that the gradient of the curve is negative 3. So now step number 1, that is point B is such that the gradient is negative 3. So now if this gradient is negative 3, we take dy by dx, we equate it to negative 3, we solve, we get x is equals to 2. We plug in the y coordinate, we get 6, and this is what we get, b, which is 2 comma 6. Now once you obtain this thing, then it's a basic coordinate geometry question. What is that coordinate geometry question? That is about perpendicular bisector of AB. That is very simple. All you have to do is to give the answer in this form where A, B, C are integers. So now we have A, we have B, we find the midpoint. This is step number 1 for this. We find the gradient. That is step number 2 of this. The gradient of the perpendicular is negative reciprocal. And step number 3 is what? That is y minus y1 is equals to mx minus x1. Simplify, write in the proper format, that is ax plus by plus c equals to 0. And they have not asked us, let me just check, where a, b, c are integers. Yes, they are integers. We got rid of fractions. If they would have asked a separately, a is 2, b is negative 13, c is 247. If and only if they would have asked us separately to state values of A, B and C, then that's how it can be written. Now someone can also ask this, can someone write this thing as negative 2x plus 13y minus 247 is equals to 0? Of course you can write it, but it's always to have more positivity in the air. So that's why there are 2 positives and 1 negative. So I think this is a better option rather than this one. It's not a matter of right and wrong, it's just a matter of preference. So now that was this paper, which is which one? May, June 2024, variant 1-2. And I hope you have understood everything in detail. You just need the passion and you need that mathematical analysis needs to be done with clarity, with showing every single step along the way, showing every detail. Do not assume anything, and if you do all these things, then you are on your way to success. So A star, I mean that's the overall A level grade, but in order to get started, you need an A in P1, and a lot of people, they either give S1 or M1, and you need help in that. So that's all from my side. Stay tuned, and you'll be getting more stuff on this channel, Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. Take care, everyone.